Beautiful souls, and welcome. Susie and Tara James here, and here we are. I said I'd be going live at 8 o'clock, just a little bit early because I just thought test it out, make sure there's no technical glitches and all of that, and just make sure we're streaming wherever we're meant to be streaming, which is on YouTube and Facebook. So hope you've all had a wonderful weekend so far. Happy 4th of July to all my friends in America. Hope you're having a wonderful day, celebrating, etc. And yeah, it's just good to see. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. So for those of you that have noticed, I've been away and had a couple of weeks break, which has been absolutely fantastic. So if you're here and you're live, pop in, say hi, because I'm just, hopefully the chat will start working and I will see you all, because I'm running this from Restream. So I'm actually streaming to Facebook in 2 different places and to YouTube all at the same time. The wonders of modern technology. So hopefully I get to say hi to somebody as you pop in and say hi. Here we are. So this video is really to start off the weekend Arboridium reading. And for those of you that are following my weekend Arboridium, you know that I normally post on a Thursday a choice of, hi Sharon, yes, happy 4th of July. How's it going out there? Having a wonderful celebration? I was talking to a friend earlier and she said there was lots of fireworks going off where she was. So it's one of those times when I suppose you can have that, can't you? Celebrate with fireworks. We tend to save ours to the new year. And that's about it, really, I think, in the UK. Unless somebody has a particular celebration going on. And you'll have to excuse the random noises in the background. That's my lovely Peaches wanting to join in. And of course, she's decided to find her bone to do that. So there she is. Oh, lovely. Good to hear. It's nice to have a relaxing weekend, isn't it? Mine's been a bit busy. I've come back from having 2 weeks away and it's been a round of washing, tidying and straightening the house and clearing the gardens. By the time I got back, I had a jungle for a garden because of all the rain that we'd been having. So I've had a rather busy weekend, hence the need to do the weekend Arboridium reading like this. So as I was saying, normally, this is a reading that I post on a Thursday, a choice of 3 cards, and then I record a reading with all the reveals for each of the individual cards. Because of what's been taking place and I haven't had a chance to do that, I thought, why not? Let's try something different. Let's do it in person. So I posted the cards this morning via video and as a post, and I know a few people have managed to choose. So if you happen to, they are sort of they're oracle cards. I will be doing angel cards shortly, but the weekend Arboridium is for those of you that are new and have not come across them before or my post or anything. This is the Arboridium. They are a deck of cards that were designed and produced by Phil and Jackie Lovesey, and they're based around a magical apprentice hare called Matlock, and each of the cards has a little short story based around the meaning of the card. And the way that I read as an angel intuitive, energy intuitive, I read the card intuitively and then I read the little story from the book to see if the message is applicable as well. And it's just amazing. It's just so magical. It's such a lovely little book. They're great images. They're fabulous little stories to go with the cards. And there's just so much fun and magic in these. So the cards I always lay out are 3. So we have left, or card number 1. Then we have middle, or card number 2. And then we have right, or card number 3. So I'll just hold them up. So for those of you that, if you're watching this your first time of being here, Then there's left, middle or right. So I'm going to start and do the weekend Arboridium reading, because I just check on the time, because I said I would start at 8 o'clock. Yeah, then it's just past that. So for those of you that chose the left card, you chose balance. And as I sense into the energy of this card, and for those of you that chose balance, there's a feeling very much of now is the time to start bringing things into balance. So for some of you, you've been doing things that have been a little bit, you've been focusing too much in one area. Thank you, Sharon. That's really kind of you. Yeah, protecting your energies is fabulous. It's one of the things that I talk about, and it's interesting that you mentioned that, because with the balance, was what I was about to say next. It's about balancing your energy, drawing your focus where you've been focusing too much in one direction, and you've been putting all that energy into that focus. Your equilibrium feels a little bit out of sync now. So it's about bringing everything back into balance, harmonizing what you've been doing. For some of you, this feels like it might be that you need to let go of a few things, perhaps not be so, I want to use the word controlling around certain situations, and just allow this balance and energy to flow in a way that it brings you into harmony, is what I want to say. It feels very much as well for some of you, you've perhaps been putting all your eggs in one basket rather than just allowing them to play out and see where they lead. And again, this comes into this feeling of needing to be in control of the situation, of being in control rather than allowing things to flow in a sort of natural way. And there's this sense of a bit of a push me, pull me feeling. So where you're trying too hard and focusing too much in one direction or one area, you're not allowing everything else to flow. So it's about bringing your energy back into balance, perhaps doing some little meditations, getting out into nature, all the usual things that help you to balance your energy and protect your energy field. Because when you're grounding your energy, you're also bringing your physical energy into balance, and you're not getting that sense of feeling drained or run down, things like that. For some of you as well, there's this, I've got a bit of a sweet tooth going on at the moment. So there's this feeling that perhaps some of you have been overindulging a little bit in perhaps the sweet stuff or whatever. But it's just this feeling again of bringing everything back into balance in the physical body. So looking perhaps at where you're focusing too much on one aspect of your diet, even as well. Everything needs to be flowing in harmony. And while we're focusing in one area or we're overindulging, we're bringing ourselves out of balance. And then we're not flowing in that lovely energy that takes us and opens us up to the synchronicities. When we get a little bit out of balance and a little bit out of sync, we sort of dampen our energy field a little bit. And I know myself, having just come back off holiday for a couple of weeks, I had a lovely time away, and yes, I overindulged a little bit, and now I'm sort of just coming back into balance, doing a little bit of a detox, getting back into flow again. So all that decluttering energy as well is what's going on. So I've been decluttering today and tidying up. So again, that all helps to bring flow and balance in as well. So for those of you that chose balance, look at where you perhaps can declutter, where perhaps you do need to maybe do a little bit of a detox just to get yourself back into that nice sort of energy bounce. I just feel like I want to be a bit bouncy, and I'm not at the moment. I'm a bit flat. So getting back into that lovely bouncy energy, finding things that inspire you. So maybe yoga or music, all these things that we do help the physical body, help the etheric body, the auric field as well. And then when we balance the auric field, that helps the physical body. So there's a lot of things going on around for you that you could look at to help bring your body back into balance. And we will see what the lovely Matlock has to say. So, balance. I had always assumed that one of the most important items in my potionery cupboard were my scales. With them, I could carefully weigh, measure, and balance ingredients according to precisely described ancient methods as I prepared various tinctures and elixirs. Too much of one powder, root, or leaf would render the end result unusable. Accuracy was key. Overloading the scales by even the slightest amount could result in failure. As a consequence, I held my scales in complete reverence, keeping them safely in the cupboard when not using them. A while ago, I returned from a few days away to discover the cupboard slightly ajar. Convinced I had left it securely shut, I opened the doors, and what glopped up chaos greeted my startled hare's eyes. Dale's creatures had somehow found their way in. Powders were spilt, a long trail of truffleberry elixir coated my precious scales, and in one of the pans, perfectly balanced by a pile of gilly root, sat a snoring schlump. To say I was annoyed was an understatement. But you were away, the schlump responded, lazily opening one eye. Did you have a zastaculous time? To which I could only tell the truth, that indeed I had. Good, it replied, so have we. And in those moments, as I looked at all the contented creatures and saw the home they'd somehow managed to create for themselves, the mess gradually became irrelevant. The schlump, for all his unintended arrogance, was absolutely right. Regardless of the chaos, both the creatures and I had indeed had the most zastaculous time. Perhaps here was the true meaning of balance, not obsessing over minute fractions of measured amounts, but something far simpler, the balance of shared experience. In this case, the zastaculous time we'd all had, since I've let the schlump and his friends come and go as they please. Sometimes others join them, sometimes it's bare. And the strangest thing, when they're away too long, I begin to miss them. But the cupboard always remains unlocked, a home to both my scales and the creatures who sometimes stay there perfectly unintended balance. Often when things seem confusing, they can also be perfectly balanced in an entirely unexpected way, and life reveals itself very differently when they are. So that's for all of you that chose the first Arboridium card of balance, and thank you so much for that. Hi Becky, lovely to see you. Thanks for popping in. I'm just doing my weekend Arboridium card reveal. It's something that I do every week, and normally it's a recorded video, but this time I decided to do it live. So for those of you that chose the middle card, you chose Guiding Lights. For those of you that chose card 2 or the middle card, I'm very much drawn to saying that you're on your spiritual path, you're on your spiritual journey, but for some of you, there's this feeling of hesitancy, of not feeling quite in flow at the moment. And whilst you know that your guides and your inspirers and your loved ones and the angels, whoever you work with and connect with normally, whilst you know that they're there, there's almost this sense of feeling that you're uncertain, a feeling as if you feel like you've maybe lost that deep connection you still get a little bit of a sense of knowing, but whereas normally you would have that deep intuitive knowing, it feels like it's a bit dampened at the moment, and a bit like leading on from the balance card. It all feels like things are a little bit out of balance at the moment, that you're needing to take some time and respite for yourself. And for some of you as well, there's a shift in your vibration. So for some of you, you're finding that you're opening up more to your intuition and your guidance. And again, with that, there's still this sense of hesitancy, as if you're not quite trusting what you're receiving or what you're getting. And it's about really just moving into flow and trusting that you are on the right path. You are doing the right things for the moment, because everything is about being in the moment. It's about being present in the now. And for those of you that are perhaps looking to make and deepen that connection to your guides and your inspirers, there's this element of trust, of being in the trust, being in the now, and just allowing that energy to flow. Bring yourself back into balance, do what's needed there, and really have this, I want to say, this sense of quiet, this sense of going within. And I don't mean in a reclusive way. I just mean just feeling within what's going on for you. Just taking a moment to draw breath and really feel into the resonance of what's taking place. And for some of you, you may be feeling that you're being drawn into situations which, whilst are enjoyable, it's almost like everybody's vying for your attention at the moment. You're trying to just draw in this energy and this presence of being in the now, but because everybody is vying for your attention, you're not quite maintaining that lovely guiding light connection that you always have. And it's not about stepping into worry, is what I want to say. It's just allow it to flow. When you're being guided or inspired to go in and be quiet, do that. And if you're being guided to go and spend time with friends and family, do that as well. But find the balance between the two, and don't overthink it. And don't beat yourself up if you think, oh, I've spent all weekend with friends and family visiting and doing, and I've not spent any time for myself. Don't beat yourself up over it. Just allow yourself that moment of enjoyment, and then know that you could step back into those moments of guidance, love, and inspiration by sitting within and enjoying that connection and strengthening the connection with your guiding lights. So we're going to see what Matlock has to say. And that was Peaches off to the garden. Guiding lights. Many years ago, as an apprentice, magical hair, I awoke one night to find the cottage quite empty. I called for my master several times and searched every room, but he wasn't there. Instead was just a note on his potionery table, lit by a flickering candle. Find me. Not knowing if this was a game or he was in trouble, I opened the cottage door and stared out into the night. Find him? How could I, without the first idea where he'd gone? And yet I knew I must. So set off into the darkness, calling his name out into the wind. I searched all of Wandwood, tripping on roots, catching my robes on branches. Some places were almost pitch black, the twinkling lid lightly obscured. However, with considerable effort, I eventually found my way out and set off up along the long sloping climb to the high plateau, as the wind finally dropped and moon appeared behind parted clouds. At the top I was exhausted, yet there in the middle, holding a single candle, was my master. Enjoy your adventure, he smiled. Why? Was all I could breathlessly ask. He chuckled. to show you this. And then he pointed back along the route I'd taken, now lit with a long line of flickering candles, reaching down the slope through Wand Woods and right back to the distant cottage itself. You thought your journey was your own, yet you were always called by guiding lights along the way. Even though you had no idea where to go, they led you right to me. It's only now that you can see them. Open your life to magic's many mysteries, Matlock, and the lights will guide you. Whenever you feel glopped up, look back on your life, see all that has brought you to where you are now. The chance encounters, the friends, the good times and the bad, for they are all guiding lights, each and every one of them, and form vital waypoints on your life. Sometimes, like tonight, the route may be hard, but with wisdom and hindsight, we understand that many things are necessary to take us forwards on our journeys. I looked at the line of twinkling lights, my guiding lights, watching each one gradually flicker out as darkness descended once more. I'm glad I found you, I said, as we began the long walk home. My master gently laughed. Well, I'm not so sure either of us had much choice in that matter. The guiding lights brought us together to light each other's paths, and you have made my world shine so much brighter, Matlock. But do you know the really magical thing? What's that? I asked. He ruffled my long hair's ears. How many more guiding lights wait for you right now? How many scrumlush things will happen that you will one day look back on and see the importance they played in the pathway of your life? And so it is today, as I reflect on my life as a magical hare through the guiding lights of my years, the events, places, adventures I've had and friends I've made along the way. Each flickers brightly, a reminder of so many crumlush and sastaculous things. And the way ahead will be just as magical too. To look back on the guiding lights of your life is to see the many waypoints that both shaped your path and kept you companion on your journey. So thank you to everybody who chose card 2 and guiding lights. And I hope you enjoyed that little reading. I'm just going to take a drink. And for those of you that chose card 3, all right, you chose ask. As a sense into the energy of this card, for those of you that chose 3, there's very much a feeling of it's time now to ask for your desires. Ask for what it is that you want to manifest. You may have been doing it in a way that you felt like you've tried and it's not really worked. And this, I feel, is because there's a little bit more emphasis needed to be put into this. So a little bit more energy to be put into. Sometimes when we just ask and then we leave it, we haven't really set the intention. It's almost like it's a bit of a throwaway. Whereas now you're being inspired to spend a little bit more time when you sit and ask, to perhaps sit and write it as well as visualize it. So you're putting the energy of thought into it, but the energy as well of, manifestation's lovely, isn't it, Sharon? Put the energy of, as Sharon said, manifestation into it, but using intent, using visualization, using the words that you write and the thought and the words that you think to be really clear about what it is that you want to ask for now. Because it feels very much that you're asking in anticipation and the universe is sat waiting to bring it and give it to you, but as yet it's not really fallen into place for you because you haven't quite fulfilled that part of the intention of the energy of movement, if you like, that really needs to bring this manifestation into play. we often just think about the law of attraction as just being that need to ask and it will be, when in fact, from my understanding and my experience, yes, that can happen on occasion, that we just ask, let it go, and it does happen. But more often, it's about the energy and the intention of the work that we're doing that helps bring it into flow more easily, if you like. Because there's so much, for those of you that have picked card 3, there's so much that you've been asking for in this moment. And it may be as well that for some of you, you're asking for so much all at once, it's all getting a little bit confused and confuddled as to which thing you really want. So again, perhaps writing it down, prioritizing the things that you're asking for, and then just asking yourself, why do you want it? And then when you get that answer, why have you got that answer? You know, and really dig deep into, because sometimes we think we want something, but it's not always what we need in this moment. Yes, absolutely, Sharon. Yeah. So it's writing it down is one of the things that I'm being inspired to say to those of you that chose the ask card, and just prioritize, really feel into the things that you're asking for. Why do you ask them? And it may be as well that for some of you, when you're asking for things, you know, what you're asking for. So like for me, for example, I'd like a car. So I've been asking the universe to help me find a car. But there may be other steps that I need to take before that that will manifest the car for me. So I need to dig deep and look at it. So it's things like that. When you're asking for a list of things, really look at them and think, well, if I got that, would that then give me the opportunity or a way of getting that, rather than going from, you know, going from ground zero to point C? You might need to go from ground zero to point A and then get to C, if that makes sense. So it's just this feeling about really prioritizing what it is that you're asking for, what you're wanting to manifest. Because at the moment, the universe is sat there waiting, wanting to bring it in for you, but it's a bit unclear as to what it is that you're asking for, or what you're desiring, and what you need and what you want. So clarity is the word that's coming in around that one. So just bring some clarity into what you're asking for. And we will see what the lovely Matlock has to say for ask. So ask. It was the middle of a harsh winter in Winchett Dale. Thick snow lay on the ground. Rivers and brooks were frozen over, banks hanging with long gleaming icicles. In the village, creatures rarely ventured out, huddling round their hearths in thick clothes and sharing what they had with others as they waited for the first signs of spring. In my cottage on the edge of Wand Wood, I tried my best to tend to the rest of the Dale's creatures, ensuring those that were hibernating had enough cover, peering into tree stumps to check on any nesting birds, and breaking thick ice to provide water for the many who needed it. But as winter continued, I began to worry about the trees. Most had already given up what branches they could for firewood, with just a few frozen twigs lying on the ground. Creatures collected what they could, but with so little left there'd soon be nothing for their fires. I invited them to my cottage and gave what wood I had, hoping it would at least stave off the cold for a while. However, that night was by far the coldest. I lay in bed wearing every robe I had, my hare's teeth chattering, unable to sleep, worrying for the whole of Winchett Dale, which is when a small tree witch in a purple hat knocked at my door. "Why don't you just ask?" she said, throwing up her small arms in frustration. "Or have you forgotten to talk to the universe? Ask, Matlock, simply and plainly, for help. Ask." So I did, because she was right, I had forgotten. And I did need help. Without stopping to wonder how or why she'd appeared, I closed my eyes and asked the universe to keep us all safe and warm until the winter ended. Good, she said, now follow me. We set off into Wand Wood, where she settled on a thick branch of a tree I hadn't noticed before. Because you asked honestly and unselfishly, I have provided. 3 branches fell to the ground. This tree will gladly give Winchett Dale all the wood and shelter it needs until the spring. Tell everyone it is my gift. But who are you? She smiled at me. Why ask when you already know the answer? When spring eventually came, the magical giving tree vanished as mysteriously as it had arrived, having saved Winchett Dale from the worst ravages of the harshest winter. Each of us was beholden. We had asked, and the universe had provided. Whenever I have worries that seem overwhelming, I always remember to ask, and I'm surprised how quickly sometimes I get an answer. So thank you to everybody who chose card 3 and right and the gas card. And as always, we get a little bit of Dale speak in the readings. So I'm just going to share those. The word crumlush means cozy, warm and lovely. We had glopped up, when something has gone wrong. And we had zastaculous, incredible, fantastic. And twinkling lid, the night sky full of stars. So thank you to everybody who's popped in and watched live. And thank you to those of you that watched the replay. And I hope you enjoy the weekend Arboridium as much as I do, and sharing these lovely cards with you. So that is the weekend Arboridium reading. I'm going to end it there because this will be uploaded to YouTube for this reading. And then I'm just going to pop into Facebook and go live in about 5 or 10 minutes. So those of you that are here still live with me, if you want to come along and find me in 5 or 10 minutes in Facebook, would love to see you there. And I'll probably do a few little card readings there as well. So thank you very much for joining the weekend Arboridium. Much love to you all. Bye.